USS West Virginia, December 7th, 1941. The order was given, seal the compartments. They were still alive inside. That is where this story begins, and that is where it ends. The ship survived. Some men did not. Both of those things came from the same order, given in the same moment, on the same burning morning. That is the story. December 7th, 1941, 7:55 a.m., Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. It was a Sunday. Most of the crew was not yet at battle stations. The harbor was calm. There was no warning that arrived in time to matter. 6 aircraft carriers had positioned themselves north of Hawaii. Hundreds of aircraft launched in 2 waves. The target was the row of battleships moored along Ford Island. The Americans called it home. USS West Virginia was moored there. A Colorado-class battleship, commissioned in 1923, carrying a crew of approximately 1,500 men. She was one of the first ships hit. At least 6 torpedoes struck her port side in rapid succession. 2 armor-piercing bombs followed from above. The damage was not gradual. It was immediate. It was massive. Water entered the ship fast. The port side flooded. The ship began to list toward port. It reached 28 degrees. At that angle, a ship can capsize, roll completely onto its side. On Battleship Row, a capsized battleship was not just a lost ship. It was a blocked harbor, a paralyzed fleet, every other ship unable to maneuver, respond, or leave. The officers understood immediately. The harbor could not be blocked. The decision had to be made now. Captain Mervyn Benyon was on the bridge when the attack began. In the first minutes, a bomb struck the adjacent USS Tennessee. Shrapnel crossed the water and struck him. He was mortally wounded. He did not leave the bridge. He continued directing operations until he died. He was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor. With the captain gone, Lieutenant Commander John S. Harper and surviving officers took charge of a ship listing at 28 degrees, flooding fast, and at risk of capsizing into a harbor the military needed to keep open. They ordered counterflooding. Counterflooding means deliberately letting water into compartments on the side opposite the damage. The West Virginia had been struck on the port side. Water was let into the starboard side. The weight counteracted the list. It brought the ship back toward upright. It is a controlled sacrifice. You choose which compartments to flood. You choose which watertight doors to seal, dogs shut with multiple locking handles designed to hold under any pressure. The system worked. The West Virginia's list was corrected. She settled onto the harbor floor in approximately 40 feet of water, upright, superstructure above the waterline. The harbor remained open. The decision worked exactly as damage control doctrine required. The decision did not change. But a sealed compartment is a sealed compartment. When you seal a watertight door in combat, you seal everything inside: equipment, supplies, and whoever has not yet made it out. On a battleship under sudden attack, a full accounting of every man's location is not possible. The ship is large. The passageways are many. The attack is happening now. The flooding is happening now. The list is happening now. The information was incomplete. It could not have been otherwise. Some sailors were already in the lower decks when the attack began. Some were moving toward their battle stations. Some were already attempting damage control below the waterline. The water reached them. The orders reached the hatches above them. The compartments were sealed. They could not get out. There was no time. No warning specific enough. No communication from below that could have reached above. Not through a ship flooding, listing, and being struck by additional ordnance while fires burned on the water around her. The doors closed. The handles were turned. The seals held. That is what the procedure required. That is what the situation demanded. That is what was done. The decision did not change. 3 names are documented: Ronald Ennis, Clifford Olds, Louis Costin. These 3 sailors were found inside a sealed compartment during salvage operations. Not on December 7th, Not in the first week. Weeks later, when salvage crews reached the sealed section of the hull, they were not found the way you hope men are found. A calendar was recovered with them, a standard pocket calendar, the kind a sailor might keep track of days with, far from home. Dates had been marked on it. December 8th, they were still alive. December 9th, still alive, still marking the days. December 10th, above them the harbor had begun its reconstruction. The dead were being recovered from the water. The damaged ships were being assessed one by one. Below the waterline of the West Virginia, 3 men marked December 10th, December 11th, December 12th, December 13th. The compartment was not completely flooded. There was air. There were emergency rations. There was some fresh water, enough to survive. For a time, December 15th, 8 days after the attack, the United States had formally declared war. Roosevelt had addressed Congress. The world had shifted completely. 3 men in a sealed compartment below Pearl Harbor marked December 15th. December 18th, December 19th, December 20th. Still marking, still alive. 2 weeks after a battle the rest of the world had already moved past in the momentum of a war that did not stop for anyone. December 23rd, 1941, the last marked date. 16 days after the attack, 2 days before Christmas, 16 days inside the sealed hull of a sunken battleship in the most consequential military harbor in American history. December 23rd. And then the calendar stops. There are no written notes beyond what the calendar records. No account of what the 3 men spoke about. No record of what they understood, or hoped for, or believed across those 16 days. All of that is unknown. All of that must remain unknown. What is known is December 23rd. What is known is the calendar. What is known is that it stops. The question of rescue requires a direct answer. Pearl Harbor after December 7th was a wartime emergency. The threat of further attack was real. Salvage was prioritized by strategic necessity. The West Virginia was one of many severely damaged ships in a harbor being rebuilt and defended simultaneously. The standard assumption after a ship sinks in combat is that survivors have escaped, and those who have not escaped have not survived. There was no established protocol in December 1941 for determining whether sealed below waterline compartments contained living men. The men could not be reached in time. That is the documented reality, not a judgment. The condition of Pearl Harbor in December 1941, the decision did not change. It never could have. USS West Virginia was raised, repaired, modernized, and returned to the Pacific Fleet. She fought at the Battle of Leyte Gulf in October 1944, one of the largest naval battles in recorded history. She was in Tokyo Bay on September 2, 1945, when Japan signed the formal surrender aboard USS Missouri. The ship sunk at Pearl Harbor was present at the end of the war. It had been sunk trying to prevent. The decision made in those first minutes to counter-flood, to seal the compartments, to keep the ship upright, made all of that possible. Without that decision, the West Virginia capsizes. She is not at Leyte Gulf. She is not in Tokyo Bay. She does not return. The decision saved the ship. The same decision sealed 3 men inside the hull. Both are true. They do not cancel each other. They are the same moment. Ronald Ennis marked December 23rd on a calendar. Clifford Olds was there. Louis Costin was there. The ship sealed around them crossed the Pacific and stood in Tokyo Bay when the war ended. The men who sealed the compartment were following correct procedure. The men inside had no way to change what was happening above them. No one in that story had the full picture. No one could have. Decisions made in war carry consequences not visible at the moment of decision. The officer sealing the compartment cannot see the calendar being marked below. The sailor marking the date cannot see the salvage crews working above. Neither has complete information. Neither can act on what they cannot know. The decision was procedurally correct, tactically necessary. It saved the ship, and it sealed 3 men inside. The decision did not change. It could not change. It was made once, in the first minutes of a war that had just begun, on a ship listing at 28 degrees in a harbor on fire. It did not change on December 8th. It did not change on December 15th. It did not change on December 23rd. 3 men, 1 calendar, 16 days. Ronald Ennis, Clifford Olds, Louis Costin, remember their names. If this story stayed with you, leave a comment. Tell someone what should be remembered. Share it with someone who should know these names.